Welcome to the Church of Mabus radio show. It's Friday night, live from Florida. It's 7:07 p.m. Central. Got Wham here with us tonight.
Hi.
We got Diego with us. Diego's going to say his whole name so everyone can find his book, and we'll be plugging his book a lot. But if you could, just one time, tell everyone your full name.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for listening and watching us. My name is Diego de Oxossi. So it's an X in the middle of the word. I know it's very difficult to speak this in English. So Diego de Oxossi, Oxossi.
And do you have a website that you want to go ahead and plug it and tell it?
Yeah, everybody can find me in the social networks as Diego de Oxossi, DIEGODEOXOSSI, and my website, which is www.diegodeoxossi.com.br.
And your
And
book is Sacred Leaves, a magical guide to Orisha Herbal Witchcraft.
yeah, exactly. This is a dream coming true for me because all my writer career began with the first volume of this trilogy, and Llewellyn gave me this gift of taking the three original Portuguese books and making a whole edition, a large book which has all the lessons for Orisha's herbal witchcraft in it.
And that's a pretty big thing to have a book through them. That's a good thing. That's great. That's a big thing for sure. Congratulations on that. We've been having a lot of their authors on. Before we get started, there's one thing I want to plug that you may be familiar with some of this stuff, Diego. I have a friend of mine, Howard G. Charing, and he's a medicine man, and he was going to come on the show, but I'm not sure. He's in Romania, so the time zones were too weird. But I just want to plug this one thing he put out, and then we'll get started. The Amazonian Angel Oracle, working with angels, divas, and plant spirits, and it's inspired by Pablo Amaringa, Amaringo. If you've seen his paintings before, like
Yeah,
the
I've seen it.
ayahuasca, the whole deck is uh is based on his paintings. I have a book of his paintings too, but I know he passed. But the whole book is the Amazonian Angel Oracle. Now, is the Amazon near you, or is that far away?
No, it's very far away. I guess we are about 6 or 8 hours traveling.
Okay. And it, you make incense. I've been burning this. I've used it up.
Oh, you got
I'm
them.
burning one right now. I love it. It's good stuff. They sent me one with the book, and
Great.
I like it a lot. Where can people get your incense?
Well, they can get our instances on amazon.com.br, Amazon Brazil, but I know they ship worldwide. And also in my website, they're all available. We have 8 different scents, 8 different rituals. They're all made with essential oils and bath florals. So they are not all, sorry, they're magical and therapeutical at the same time. It's amazing. And I'm
You
very happy that you got them.
Thank you. How do you make them? Do you have like a company make them, or do you make them? So that would be
No,
a
actually, we have a company making them. I just follow the manufacturing steps, and I went there and I seen they doing all the manufacturing process. But we got very large in the last year. We are now distributing for the whole country and worldwide. So there's no way I can put them on handmade.
let's say, like I saw a video not too long ago. Someone was saying if you're trying to get rid of negative spirits or something that's bothersome, that you shouldn't probably use white sage, that it like seals it or something weird. And they said use frankincense or palo alto. And I don't know how true that is, but in your experience, is that true?
Yeah, actually, not you shouldn't use only sage, nor only frankincense, nor only I forgot the other herb you told. Sorry,
Palo alto.
palo. Yeah, because yeah, they will serve the purpose of cleansing the space, but they are not going to put something in the void of that negativity. So that's the one of the secrets of working with Orisha's Herbal Witchcraft is that if you want to take some energy away, if you want to send some energy away, you gotta be conscious of what you're going to call in to fill that void, and that's the thing. You can use sage, but you must use one or two other herbs to summon the prosperity or the love or the harmony or the balance that you want to fill up.
And what is an Orisha? I've heard that term before. I could have sworn with maybe like African voodoo and stuff like that. I mean, is that what it's? Is that some of the roots of it? What is it?
Well, sorry. The Orisha is the general name that we give to all the African gods and goddesses. So the Orishas are actually the forces of nature and the forces of life that we give a proper name and a human figure so that it's easier to worship them and to talk about and to invoke them and to work with. But Orishas are the force or the yeah, I guess force is the best word. The, for example, we have an Orisha called Eshu, which is the god of movement, the god of communication, the god of exchanging, the god of lie and truth. So all these forces, not when I say forces of nature, I'm not only referring to the water, the mountains, the food, the seeds, but I'm referring also to these subtle energies that we deal in daily life. So we have a God that rules communication. If we're able to do what we're doing now, talking from miles away and spreading the word for all over the world, this is the power of Eshu coming through. This is the force of Orisha Eshu coming through. If we have the ability to build to use tools to build buildings, to build machines, to construct anything, or to advance in progress in machinery and technology or something like this. This is the power of Orisha Ogun coming through. He is the god of war. He is the god of technology. So everything in life is ruled by an Orisha, male or female. And of course, we have those orishas that are related to natural elements. So we have Oshun, which is the goddess of love, the goddess of fertility, the goddess of love, and rules all waters of the world. So all the rivers, all the waterfalls, and so on. We basically in Africa, there were more than 700 different orishas. Each family had its personal orishas that they worshipped before slavery process. Each region, each country in Africa, each smallest city and each hugest city, they have a few orishas they worship. They have some orishas family they worship. But throughout the slavery process, a lot of these codes, a lot of these traditions got lost. And when the enslaved Africans came to Americas, they needed to re-identify themselves from different African regions, from different languages, from different countries, by understanding which forces of nature, which in Portuguese the word would be which power they worship as the power of communication, the power of life, the power of transformation, the power of lie, actually, because lying is also having power. If you lie and you convince someone with this, you have power over them. So all these powers needed to be identified and grouped in just a few orishas that could be worshipped in Americas. So basically, historically, we come from a more than 1,000 different orishas, more than 700, sorry, more than 700 orishas that were worshipped in Africa. And we basically have 16 to 20 different orishas known in all Americas. But these 20 orishas, these 16 to 20 gods and goddesses, they basically group all forces of life between them.
Who would be considered the trickster? We talk about coyote on here a lot, and stuff. Which one would that be considered?
Ishu, the god of communication. He is the trickster. Yeah.
Is that a spider
And
or is it something else?
sorry?
Is it like a spider? I know there's one that's like a spider, but is that what does this shoe look like visually?
Can we say everything here? Can we use every words here? Because
Except F.
actually,
F probably not
Except the
F.
F word.
Yeah,
Except the
not
F
the
word.
F
yeah,
word.
because actually Ishu is represented by a phallus. That's the figure
Okay, that's
that
okay.
represents him. Yeah.
I'm a Capricorn. That's Pan. Lots of phallus.
He's the Capricorn dude.
Yep, the goat man. But
Something
that
like
that's
this.
cool. Is it? I know there's one that's a spider though, isn't there? Is there one that's considered like a spider?
Actually, I don't know any of them that is considered a spider, but there are a few that are considered snakes. So
Cool, cool.
yeah, we
I'm
have.
getting that from those Neil Gaiman American Gods book, and there was a show with Ian McShane and all that, where the
Mm,
with all the gods get together and weirdness. It's pretty
yeah,
good. But
yeah,
there's
yeah.
one that
I've
the
seen the
African
TV
American guy
series.
is a the spider. I forget,
I
and
really, I
A Nazi or something like that.
Oh no, that's an Egyptian god.
Okay,
They're of course they're also African, but they are not Orishas. They are Egyptian gods. Yeah.
okay, cool, 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 nice. And let's see. Well, when it comes to, I've had some people do some clearings lately from where I'm at because there's been some, I don't know, stressful. I've had some blood pressure stuff, uh, anxiety, and a person from far away did a clearing and said that they removed some things several times, and every time they say they do something, they bring up some kind of demonic entities that they've removed in different houses. Now, I don't know what those things are, but I've been trying to raise my vibrations and trying to deal with this blood pressure stuff without taking the blood pressure medicine because it's terrible. And yes, it hurts the phallus in so many different ways, in a bad way. It'll put you out of commission. But when it comes to blood pressure and things like that, is there any herbal stuff that comes to mind that might help something like that?
Actually, this is a very sensitive point of talking about herbs because, uh, yeah, there are a few herbs that can be used to decrease blood pressure or to increase them in the other way around. But actually, health issues can be treated and can be cured by herbal treatments, but all these treatments should be noticed and guided by a physician. That's the sensitive point.
Yes.
I know a few herbal herbs that can do that, yeah, but I don't think we should, not even a herbal tea or a herbal compress or something like this. If we're talking about health issues, we shouldn't use anything without a physician's or a medic guidance.
I
Of course,
understand.
we need to understand if this blood pressure is caused by anxiety, for example, and if we're talking about high blood pressure being caused by peaks of anxiety, where is this anxiety coming from? Because instead of saying, "Oh, Jeffrey, you should take some this or their herbal tea as a medicine, as a physical medicine," we should probably look for the causes of this anxiety and create some herbal baths and some incenses or some fumigations or some magical ritual with herbs that can ease you down, that can put you in a in a easier frequency that would slow down the anxiety and will how can I say this, will, well, drop your blood pressure down, something like this.
You got to be careful with the weed with it too. You get the wrong kind, you can be in a lot
Yeah.
more trouble for sure. And well, one of the big reasons we do this show And I know I've told my personal story a billion times to where I'm even tired of telling it. But it's because when I was younger, I had testicular cancer when I was 17, and then I had to go through chemo. I lost one in the war, and it was testicular cancer at a young age. And then I was healed from that, and then a few years later, my dad passed away, and I started to have paranormal experiences, metaphysical experiences, from seeing beings of light with my naked eye, completely sober. I've seen them not completely sober, partying in two different ways, but seen them completely sober leave my house as if they'd been in my house and flew out to the heavens. And I wasn't even on tobacco then. And then there's been other times where I've done psychedelics and seen them and things like that. But I started to have also things in the sky that were strange. And friends will be like, "You're attracting them here." And I saw some different types of beings that were, you know, weird and different. And, Wham's had a lot of experiences as well. But that's what led to doing this show, because at first, when that kind of stuff happens to you, you can go crazy. Like, you don't know what the heck's happening to you. And I actually was having trouble getting interviews at one point when I first started, because nobody knew who I was. And I said a prayer and had some things in the sky that I call red fireflies, like energy that were red. That was weird. I don't know what it was, but it's like they knew I saw it. And then the next thing you know, I started getting interviews with people who were big time UFO people. A lot of them are passed away now, like Stanton Friedman, nuclear physicist, just like people I'd seen in documentaries in my younger years. Next thing you know, I'm interviewing these people. It was like it was connected to that weird sighting, and it gave me luck or something to find these people and interview them and be more open. And a lot of this is about raising consciousness. And I believe just doing a show like this, raises consciousness. And I know you talk about consciousness in your book, and we'll get into
Yeah.
that. But for me, it was kind of like a shamanic death, going through testicular cancer, losing one, which really sucks, a testicle, and then your dad passing away. It was a lot, and I think it opened my senses. But one thing I wanted to talk about, and we'll get into consciousness more, what were some of the things that led you down this path that started everything? Was there catalyst? What started your walk with all this?
Well, you know that I've been participating in a few interviews now due to the Secret Leaves book and the Black Magic book that I that was released a few months ago. And every time they ask me, it's tricky to say that all my spiritual and religious path began when I was 2 years old, and that's very weird to say because I was born with a kidney disease that until nowadays is incurable. I had, I don't know the right word in English, but in any way, I was born with this kidney disease, and from 2 years old to 7 years old, I suffered a lot with water restriction. I couldn't drink anything. Actually, there were a few years in early childhood that my mom says that the doctor told her, well, the whole amount of water he can drink in a day is a cup of water for the whole day. So she says that I used to cry a lot because I was thirsty, and she needed to give me water in a spoon so that cup of water lasts for the whole day. And that's how severe this disease was when I was a child. And my grandma and my mother, my sorry, I'm lost in myself in translation. My grandmother and my godmother, yeah, I found the word. My grandmother and my godmother, they were mediums in a religious temple, in a spiritual temple in Brazil, in Umbanda temple. And well, when the disease got stronger and I was very, very ill, they took me to spiritual cleansings, to all kinds of magic rituals that could help or treat or cure that disease. But actually, none of them worked. They helped, but the disease was there still. And when I was around 4 years old, I actually don't remember it. That's all. These are all stories that my family tells me because I just remember from 4 to 5 years old. so on. But when I was 3 to 4 years old, my grandma took me to a wizard, to a yeah, I guess wizard is the best word, to
Yes.
a wizard that worshipped the Orishas, but also worshipped a lot of downgrade, dark side energies. And anyone in my family actually knows what ritual was done, but my grandma always told me that this wizard said to her, "Look, I'm going to save his life, but once I'm going to save his life, but when he's grown old, he will have to uh, how is the word? He will have to rescue all this mission. He will have to fulfill a spiritual pact, a spiritual bond that is going to be done now, so that his life isn't take." And actually, the doctor said to my mom that I wasn't going to last from 7 years old. And this ritual was done when I was 3 to 4. Life went on. I was on and off the hospital, on and off medication, on and off treatments. And this is something I remember as it was today. I was 7 years old, so basically the year I was supposed to die. And I went to the hospital with my mom for the routine treatments and checkups and everything like that. I was at the hospital, I guess, every week. So this time I was 7 years old, and as I said, I can remember this as it was today. I was in the doctor's office, and she came from a well, she came from the door on the office with a lot of papers in her hand, and she looked at my mom and she said, "Mom, I really don't know what happened, but the disease is gone. There is no cure, there is no treatment, there is nothing that science can explain, but the disease disappeared. And he doesn't need any medicines from now on. He doesn't need any treatments." I was waiting for a kidney transplant, and well, he doesn't need anything like that. And that happened in the year I was supposed to die, with 7 years old. From then on, all my childhood and all my teenage years, they were all devoted to learning and studying and practicing every kind of magic traditions that I could find. When I was 12 years old, I was practicing Kalima, I was practicing Wicca, I was eager for some some magic that could explain that what happened to me a few years later, a few years earlier. And as I said, my grandmother and my mother-in-law, they were all this time mediums in a Brazilian spiritual temple, an Umbanda temple, and that's when I felt this click per se. I was basically called to. I'm losing myself in words now. Uh,
Take up the path, teach.
Yeah, exactly. To rescue all the spiritual path and spiritual ancestry that, besides my grandma and my mother-in-law, neither anyone in my sorry, no one in my family wanted to fulfill. And when I was 17 years old, sorry, 18 years old, I started to practice Umbanda. I started to serve in a temple, to attend in a temple. That's where I stay until 22 to 24 years, 22 to 24 years old. And a lot of weird things happened in that age. So when I closed the 21 years old, so the three times seven, the age I was supposed to die. When I get to 21 years old, so three times seven, that age, that dying age, I I was basically absorbed by the spirits, and then I changed all my life to leaving my work, leaving my career, leaving everything like that to start a temple, to to take care of other people, spiritually take care of other people, to do oracle consultations and magic rituals to care for others. And this taking care of the others, this serving back the magic I received when I was a child, that was the starting point for the writer career. I never imagined that I would write a book, and more than that, I never imagined that I would have my words published worldwide. And 10 years after I started this writer career, this spiritual path, I'm published worldwide. I have, I guess, 4 or 5 books published in English, spreading this spirituality, these Orishas magic, these Orishas traditions all over the world. So this is I'm very grateful for that. And I actually, thinking about this now, I never thought about it this way. And that's the first time in life I will say this. I am actually grateful for the disease I had.
Yep.
If I wasn't ill, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be an international author. That's the magic, and that's the magic of a shoe. When you ask me about the trickster, Eshu is the trickster god, but Eshu is also the exchanging god. Yeah, we used to say, I'll try to make a raw translation. We used to say in Portuguese that Eshu makes the bad comes good, and the good comes bad. Eshu makes turns the right in wrong and the wrong in right. So a almost death experience, a incurable disease took me here, and that's Eshu making the wrong turns right.
I understand. I understand that with the testicular cancer thing. I mean, a lot of that led to all of this, even though it still sucked. But yeah, I understand it. It's a shamanic death of sorts. And your
Yeah.
first book, Traditional Brazilian Black Magic, The Secret of the Combada Magicians, that's a pretty heavy first book, isn't it? Was that?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's pretty deep. And we've had people on about the darker side of things, and usually you find the light in the darker sides. Like for instance, just the name of my radio show,
Hmm.
Church of Mabus, that's that name from Nostradamus, Mabus. Nobody really knows what that means, but a lot of people think it means Antichrist. But Nostradamus never said what it means. A white guy named John Hogue said it meant that in a documentary like in the 80s, and it took on. And I say it means maybe us. And at the time I was going through my heavy metal stage, which I'm still kind of in that, I was going to name a band Mabus, like a metal band named Mabus. And I didn't. I came off a lot of hard drugs after my dad died. I never did drugs ever until my dad died. He told me if I did, he'd shoot me. And I believed it. So when he died, I became like Scarface for a few years. Like crazy. but I was going to name a metal band that. And thank God it probably didn't, because I probably would have OD'd and died from whatever. But it turned into a radio show. But a lot of people, they'll see that name and be like, well, I ain't coming on there. And, I did it for shock rock, like Ozzy Osbourne or Alice Cooper, Church of Mabus. It was just a quick, I liken it to Bruce Campbell in those Evil Dead movies with the Necronomicon, a fool messing with something he shouldn't. but, I know, and that was through Inner Traditions, your Black
Yeah,
Magic
Black
book.
Magic. Yeah, the Black Magic book was
Okay.
released last year by Inner Traditions, and this year we had the amazing Sacred Leaves by Llewellyn.
Awesome. And, Sacred Leaves. This is Sacred Leaves is your second book, and you're doing a third one. Is there a trilogy?
Yeah, actually, in Portuguese, it is a trilogy. Just let me get them here. Uh, oh, shame on me! I don't have the Portuguese edition in my shelf.
That's okay.
But in Portuguese, it was released as a trilogy, and Llewellyn took the 3 smallest volumes and created this large book up here. This larger book with all all the trilogy in one volume, which is great. I guess that they made a amazing work by reorganizing the books that to make sense in a whole volume. And you know what's curious is that the Black Magic book is my first book in English, and it was also my first book in Portuguese. And my second book in English, which is the Sacred Leaves, was also my second book in Portuguese. I have seven books in Portuguese published in Brazil, and we now have these four books, which became two in English. So we have the Black Magic and the Sacred Leaves trilogy in one volume. We have a few new releases in next September and next March, but we can talk about later.
Definitely, and we'd like to get you on again about those. Really enjoying it so far, and
Yeah.
when it we'll get into Sacred Leaves, but I'm kind of curious about the black magic part, and we've had people on about that before, so we're open to discussing it. I've had things weird lately, like I swear the last few days I kept having the name Set come up, and we've had some people on about that Egyptian god, and it's like I felt something weird, and at first I kind of freak out from my good sensible sensibilities from growing up Christian in America or whatever. And I'm open to a lot of different belief systems, shamanism. I love Norse. I like this kind of stuff. I've had guests on about stuff like this before, and I enjoy it, and I like to learn about it. And but my point is, I had that SET name come up and felt it, and I felt really weird. Like I felt powerful. And I was like, is Don Webb here? Because that's the guy that's into that and writes books about it. And then I went outside after it rained a whole lot, and it was like really vibrant, weird. It was almost like I did psychedelics, but I didn't. And it was just a strange experience. And I don't know. I mean, I know a little bit about Set, but mostly seems kind of creepy. There's probably more to it than I realized. But I read some book by Norman Mailer called Ancient Evenings. That's actually really good. But there's
You,
this
you,
fight.
you need to read this if you have it. Remember?
I have it. I've
You
read.
need
I've
to
read
read
it.
it. You need to
I,
read it and do it.
I'll get into it more. That's Don Webb's book, a
Yeah, yeah,
vampire magic book.
yeah.
But my
Good book.
thing is, when you're dealing with some of these darker energies, what do you do to not succumb to it? How do you find a balance? I mean, because I don't want to turn into Darth Vader just from talking to these things. And what do you do to find your balance?
I guess that's the talking about Brazilian black magic, talking about Kimbanda. That's the maybe the biggest secret to understand what kind of relation you're going to establish with those energies. Just like in Orisha's traditions, just like in Candomblé, which is the Orisha tradition I'm initiated to, we understand that actually in Orisha's traditions, in African traditions, we believe and we understand that we are all sons and daughters of one of those nature powers we call Orishas. So this is a symbolic and magical ancestry that we rescue in the initiation process in the Orisha's initiation process, and we have literally we have a seed of this Orisha planted inside of us. So we plant in the initiation in the Orisha's initiation process, we plant a seed inside of us that must be nurtured and cared for so that we become Orishas. I plant a God inside of me so that I can become a God. That's the kind of relation that we establish in the African traditions, in the Orisha's traditions. When we're talking about Kimbanda, when we're talking about black magic, we must understand that we are creating a best fellow, best friend, long life term companion with the spirits we worship. And this is a uh, maybe the biggest difference of African traditions to black magic traditions. In Brazilian black magic traditions, we worship spirits. So they were once they were alive, just like us. They basically they were all dead in some tragical ways or some mystical ways, and they can be summoned and summoned to work to magical work along with us. So it's a partnership. And to answer your question objectively, I believe that's the secret to not succumb to this darker, to this low vibrance energies. We are not, we cannot force them to do anything. We cannot command something we don't see, and we don't have any kind of authority over them. But we also cannot be ruled or governed or commanded by a spirit, by someone who, besides being dead, is just like us. We are spirits embodied. They are spirits embodied. That's the only difference. So the only kind of relationship that can be built with these energies and that can be healthy to work with is a partnership. In Brazil, we used to say that Eshu, we have the same name of the African god for one of these spirits. They're different energies, but they have the same name. So we used to say that Eshu, the spirit Eshu, takes care of those who takes care of Eshu. You know what I mean? So this spirits, these Eshu spirits will take care of me, will bring me joy, will bring me love, will bring me prosperity, will bring me health, will bring me everything that I want and everything that I need at the time that I take care of them, that I worship them. So it's an exchange of energies. That's the secret of not succumbing to them.
An issue. How do you take care of him? By like offerings, things like that?
Yeah, there are a few common offerings that we can do with foods and seeds and grains and everything like this. But actually, the basis of taking care of Eshu, of worshiping Eshu and Pombagira, which are the two kind of spirits we worship in Kimbanda, is animal sacrifice. So they are fed by animal blood, and this is the partnership that I was talking about. We feed those spirits with blood, but we eat the meat, and we share that life that is taken in sacrifice. So I take care of him by serving the blood, and he takes care of me by magically working when I eat that sacred meat that was offered to him.
Okay, it's definitely fascinating. And when it comes to dealing with some of these spirits and orishas, does UFO stuff ever come up? Like, do you have like maybe something in the sky or something that may be
No,
considered?
no, actually not. We the two traditions I work with and that I'm initiated to, we deal with earthy energies. So orishas are the stone, the thunder, the fire, the waters. The orishas are those natural elements, and the Kimbanda spirits are basically this is the spirits. So that there is no UFO relation. I actually don't know anything about UFOs.
Even though
I
Brazil
was
has lots of them, but that's okay.
Yeah, I just know that there are some of them over there, but I've never seen and I never studied anything.
That's all right.
I was just wondering if any of the spirits ever kind of came across like that, like a sky kind of weird energy or something. I'm looking at pictures of Ishu. It's pretty trippy. He has like some kind of flute in his hand. It looks like a I don't know if it's a musical instrument or something in one picture. I'm just looking at the different statues of him and everything, and just trying to learn. And and some of them, it seems like he's got something in his hands. Do you know what that is? Like I see something in his hands on a lot of the statues.
I guess that the most known images, they have some, I don't know the right word in English, some forks, some tridents,
Okay.
or some knives. They used to carry those weapons, as we call.
It's definitely interesting. It kind of looks like a vase. Maybe it's a beard. Does he have a beard?
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah, yeah. It can be a beer because they drink a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
there's.
for example, when the issue I'm initiated to, when he embodies me and he comes to work, he basically drinks 10, 15, 20 beers in 2 hours, something like this.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
I bet you
And
pee a lot afterwards.
Sorry,
I
one.
bet you pee a lot afterwards.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you know that this is something that is very curious and magical about the spirits worshiping the spirits work, because when Eshu or Pombagira embodies a medium and initiated, they drink a lot. They drink, as I said, 10, 15, 20 bottles of beer, of whiskey, or vodka, or something like this. And when the session, when the magic ritual is done, and they embodied us, of course we pee a lot because the liquid is inside our body, but we don't feel any.
Intoxication?
Yeah, exactly. When the spirit goes off, we are absolutely sober, and, well, normal again, regular and normal again. And yeah, we pee a lot.
Yeah, yeah. I can imagine.
so let's say you're having a day where you feel kind of low energy or like you don't feel that great. Do you do anything to boost yourself? Is there some kind of ritual you might do to help yourself?
I usually do some herbal rituals, either with the incenses or with herbal bath. There are a lot of actually, any kind of energy can be manipulated with herbal bath. So when I'm feeling down, when I'm feeling sad or something like this, I usually take a herbal bath with joy and happiness and warmer leaves, as we call it, because leaves have uh, magical parameters, magical characteristics that will divide them in cold and hot leaves, male and female, active and passive energies. So when I'm feeling down, I will mostly do a active, a hot hot herbs leaf, sorry, a hot herbs bath to increase this energy. And that's one of the magical rules we must always look for, this energetic balance, this energetical balance. Because I'm feeling down, okay, oh, I'm having a bad day, I'm very stressed, I had a problem at work or anything like that. So I'll get back home and make this herbal bath with all active and hot leaves I can find. Yeah, so I'll go from top rock bottom energy to sky high uh, vibration. And I have another problem. I had a problem when I was down. Now I have another problem when I'm high up. So the magical balance is the secret of everything. Just like in the spirits relationship, in the devils and the demons relationship, we are not above nor below. We must be equal. We must be balanced. I can't be. Oh, my camera is not is up here. Yeah, I cannot leave by feeling low all the time, but I cannot leave like feeling anxious and speedy and everything like that. That will do harm too. Balance is the secret for any kind of magic.
And what about consciousness? Where does consciousness fit in? I know that's a complex subject, but what do you get into in consciousness in your book?
Yeah, the consciousness subject is one of the bases to create a magical ritual, because one of the things that I explain and teach in details in the book is how to create magical rituals using herbs and leaves. But the thing is, a basil leaf will just be a basil leaf if I don't give it a magical meaning, if I don't wake this its power, if I don't say in during my ritual what I want this basil leaf to accomplish. And the consciousness is exactly this secret key that I that make me focus on what I really want. When I'm creating a ritual, what's the actual objective, magical objective of this ritual? Do I know what I need? Am I fully? I'm losing the English. Sorry. Am I devoted to getting what I want? Because if I just get some basil leaves, some rosemary, some rue, and as we spoke in the beginning of the show, if I just get a sage stick and burn it around without consciousness, without actually putting my inner energy in the ritual, without knowing what I'm looking for, it's just going to be burnt leaves. They don't have uh, uh, magical powers if I don't awaken them. And the way to awaken the leaf's power is to put our consciousness and understand what do I need now? What am I really wanting to? As an example, when we're creating some prosperity ritual, some prosperity bath, or some prosperity some fumigation or something like this, the natural behavior is to get a book just like Sacred Leaves that has a leaves dictionary inside, and search for all the wealth and prosperity leaves that I can find, and put them all together in one single recite, so that whoa, tomorrow there will be a golden jar in my window. And that's not how it works. What do I really need? Do I need money for in the example of a prosperity ritual? Do I really need money, or do I really need to understand where I'm spending the money I have? Do I need more money than I have now, or do I need to learn uh, to manage my finances, so that I don't lose myself in bills and everything like that? That's the consciousness. That's looking inside and in a very critical way saying to myself, what do I really need, and how am I responsible for getting this? Because any kind of uh, any kind of magic actually, uh, I'm really losing myself in English today. I'm really sorry for that.
It's okay. It's
There
okay.
is no magical ritual in any magical tradition in the world that will miraculously make things appear. So there is no magical tradition in the world that you do a prosperity ritual and you get rich in the other day. If you don't wake up early, if you don't work hard, if you don't look for the things you need to look for, prosperity won't come. And there is no Orisha, nor leaf, nor spirit, nor demon, nor nothing that can make it happen. But of course, when we put magic to work along with us, to work in our favor, and we fulfill our our responsibility in life, magic makes things easier. Magic makes nicer opportunities to come. Magic makes a bigger number of clients to come to my store. Magic makes a salary increase. That's what magic does. Magic doesn't create what's not there, and magic doesn't give us what we are not consciously and responsibly taken care of.
Magic is no substitute for work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
hard work and for hard work.
Absolutely. I mean, to me, it's like magic is a process. It's not even so much that magic does it. It's that at a certain point, magic just is. Magic just is what the world is. It's like the world. Your life can be. You can have you'll have hard things happen. You'll have good things happen. But whatever happens, it's magical in some way, and so, but you have to be willing to do the work. I mean, I think people think that magic is like a pill or a slot machine,
Yeah,
like God is like a slot machine. It's like,
yeah, exactly.
and it doesn't have to be magic. It can be mainstream religion. I mean, people all the time, are I mean, I feel like God must, people must drive God crazy, or Jesus crazy, the constantly asking for things
Uh-huh,
and just
uh-huh.
expecting, the deity to go, just pop it out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the thing. That's the thing.
It's like, no, no, no. It's like God is not a vending machine. It's
And
not. That's not the way these things
well,
get.
this is
But
something that I speak a lot in the book about the. I just let me check the translated word of, I guess it's gift. The just a little. Uh,
Let's see.
yeah, I guess it's a Marcel Mauss gift concept that is giving, receiving, and giving back. And this is what really makes magic happen. And it takes me back to Kimbanda relationship where Eshu takes care of those who take care of Eshu. So we put our conscious, we put our the magical ingredients along with our conscious, and we do some Orisha's offering, or we do some animal sacrifices to the spirits. We do some kind of magic. We serve them. They serve us. And then if I got a blessing, I am supposed to thank it back, to give it back. And when I give it back, when I thank the spirits, when I thank the orishas, when I return the bless I received, I am also giving it. So it's giving, receiving, and giving back. But when I'm giving back, I'm starting all over again the giving. And if I give back, I will receive. And when I receive for the second time, I will give back in the third time. And that creates a whole uh, positive construction of blessings. But we must understand that we live in a world of energies. Everything that surrounds us is energy. And the words we spoke are energy. The thoughts we have, the people we mingle with. So how can I expect that a prosperity ritual works and bring me wealth, and bring me money, and bring me more customers, and bring me all the wealth that I'm looking for, if I do that magic, if I do that magical ritual, and then I spend all day cursing other people and saying bad words and saying how is the word in English? Some saying poor words.
negative.
Yeah, and when I'm using this example of prosperity. So how can I ask for more money? How can I ask for prosperity if I don't take, once again, Jeffrey, if I'm not conscious of what I am saying, if I'm not conscious of the actions I'm taking in life, if I'm not conscious of the people I'm mingling with, because we are basically the sum of the people around us, and we cannot achieve richness by mingling up with sorry to say, but by mingling up with poor people, because we base our reality by the context and the people and the environment around us. That maybe it's hard to say, but one part of actually the first part of a magical life is fake until you make it. You want to be happy, you must fake happiness until you feel happiness. You
Well,
must vibrate. You
yeah.
must vibrate, even though it's a fake vibration. You must send your desires. You must equalize your vibration for what you want to magic to achieve. I cannot have magical happiness if I don't at least try to see happiness around me.
Well, and part of it is also realizing that there are things about your life that you can be happy about. A lot of
Exactly.
times
Exactly.
people, they just focus on what they don't have. They don't focus,
Exactly.
they don't focus on what they do in fact have, and where what they can build from that, you know,
Exactly.
um, because it's a very rare person. I haven't met anybody. It's a very rare person that doesn't have something good going on in their life. You know, something that works. And so, if you know, in my life, if I focus on what works, on what I'm doing well, and then begin the process of understanding that and applying it to other areas,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
then that's kind of where you can begin to spread that out. It takes time though. It depends on how you've
Yeah.
been raised. It depends on, you know, how far down a hole you've fallen. I mean,
Yeah, sure, sure.
it depends,
It's not an easy task,
you know,
but
and
sorry.
I think that spiritual paths, whatever they are, they help you because you know you're connecting with energies that you know are intended to grow. I mean I mean I was introduced to the Orisha through a friend of mine who has since passed, who was initiated into Ifa. You may be familiar
Uh-huh.
with Ifa, you know,
Uh-huh.
which is the more traditional Yoruban Nigerian form of
Mm-hmm.
Orisha worship. And she was a person who she had been initiated up to the point, and her special gift was, I mean, other than healing, she was a healer, herbalist too, but her special gift was that she could read other people's orishas, and in if you know, so she could tell you who your orishas
Mm-hmm.
were,
Mm-hmm.
and and at least the branch of Ifa that she was in, that she was initiated in, you had your principal Orisha and then a warrior Orisha. Some people had a
Exactly.
warrior, you know, they
Yeah,
had.
yeah.
So she read mine, so I know what mine are, but I'm not an initiate. But I did go through a ritual with her. I was brought to something where I was kind of introduced to all the Orisha and given permission to do certain things. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm not an initiate. So I don't, you know, I don't do the more formal stuff. I do my own things, but you know, I do more, you know, I do listen and look for the signs of the Orisha that are mine. And I mean that lead me. So I have a lot of respect for this tradition. I've seen it do remarkable things, um, and uh, so you know, for me, it's like the most important thing is whatever powers you work with or however you connect to the world or the divine or whatever, um, those are things that can help you, uh,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to be willing to do the work. You know, you have to be willing to
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
change. That's why I said to you, Jeffrey, I showed you that book, that vampire book. That
Yes.
vampire book is actually really powerful. I've been working with it. It's really, I've been doing it exactly the way John Webb says to do it. Because when you're first learning something, you have to do it exactly the way you're told to do it. You can't say, "Oh, I'm just going to do this little piece and expect it to work."
Yes.
You've got to
Yeah.
actually do it, you know, and then you can decide at a certain point, you know, is this, you know, what I want to connect to, or do I
Mm-hmm.
that or whatever. But you know, your what you were saying about process is extremely important, and a lot of people don't do that. I mean, that's like, to me, the most important aspect of spiritually developing, whether it's a mystical practice, a magical practice, or whatever. I did want to also comment a little bit about the negative, the balance between negative and positive energies. I practice Sufism. And one of the things that we have in Sufism, we have the names of Allah in Sufism. And a lot of these, not a lot, it's actually not a lot, but a number of the names of God, and they're mostly taken from the Quran or from the Hadith. But there are some names of God in the Quran that come from the Quran that are what I would call them disciplining names, challenging names. Names like the Punisher, the Smiter, the Abaser, things like that. And what's interesting is that in the Quran, and thus in Sufi practice, what's interesting is that when those words like that appear in the Quran, they always appear with its opposite. So you always have the crusher, and then you have with it a name of Allah that is that is the opposite of the crusher, that modifies that, or the constrictor and the expander. And then there's often, at least in the tradition, a third name that influences those two. And the reason why this is important is in the world, in the physical world, we experience the divine, aspects of the divine, as being negative in human terms. So that there'll be times we'll experience the divine crushing us, or we'll have an experience of punishment. It's not that God is really punishing you, but something has come up, and you're experiencing that. And we have these things in us too, so there are times when, if you're feeling, if something unjust, truly unjust has been done to you, you're going to experience that unfairness, and that's real, and you want justice. And, if you're egoistically minded, and you don't have that balance, well, you may become, or maybe, a psychopath, and just sort of
and that's the thing about taking conscious. Okay, something unfair happened to me. I'm gonna feel bad for a few minutes or days or something like this. But what am I going to do with this? Will I live my whole life looking for revenge?
Exactly.
Or,
Exactly.
and that's going to the dark side, to the bad side of the thing. And I cannot look for happiness. I cannot create happiness magic, prosperity magic, good magic, if I live my whole life looking for revenge for those who did me unfair.
Right, and we know people like that,
Yeah, exactly.
People like that, and in fact, at least in the United States, I don't know how it is in Brazil, but at least in the United States, there's a whole chunk of our culture that encourages people to feel that resentment, that encourages people to feel that sense of being gypped, and unfortunately, what that does is it just creates more poverty. It creates more of a sense of scarcity. Because people actually grab, they want more, and they feel like they're being more and more is taken for them. So you have these two names of God, and you're supposed to say them together, in order to both confirm that there is this experience, this difficult experience, but to look at that difficult experience as a way of focus and discipline. Not that you follow it, not that you invoke it, not that you point it at anybody like a fanatic will, but that you come to understand what that experience is in you. And then you're saying it with the expansive name, or the good name, if you will, the more positive name. And what that does is it helps you to find the good in the bad, as well as understand that whenever you're given a gift, there's always a shadow side to the gift. Are you going to cling to the gift? Are you going to forget to be grateful? Because people do tend to, like, when stuff is crappy, they want that stuff to go away. But when stuff is good, they can't let it go. So it's like so in a sense, the Quran even recognizes this tendency in human beings to be kind of caught in that, And that's why you're using these different names, these different energies of the divine, so that you understand that this is in you too, you know.
And you know that this is something that I used to see a lot in oracle consultations and in the temple I run here in Brazil. A lot of people come to me with an issue, with a problem, or something like this. And okay, we understand what the problem causes are through the oracle, and we perform all the magic rituals needed to fix that. And a few of those people months later or years later come back to me with the same complaint.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I've done the rituals, things got a little better, then get all bad again. And if you look to those people's life, that it's exactly what you said. When something bad happened to them, oh, it's the God's fault. It's God's responsibility. I'm living poorly. I'm living unhappy. I'm living in a bad way because God is punishing me. But when the blessing comes, they forget to bless back. They
Right.
forget to give thanks back, and that breaks the cycle.
Well,
That
right.
breaks the gift cycle.
Well, the energy doesn't move through. The energy's got to move.
Exactly.
It's got to move through.
Exactly.
It gets stuck. You know, people get attached to the bad or the good. Well, it's like my Sufi, the Sufi teeth, the master that my Linda and I order is from Hazrat Nayat Khan. He said that people that do that, that come to a healer with the same ailment or whatever year after year,
Hmm.
they basically have come to love their ailment. They would rather complain than actually
Exactly.
do anything about it, you know. And there's nothing much you can do to these people except say bless you. You have created your reality. There it is, you know.
and that's the thing. They create. We all create our own reality.
Mhm, right,
And what people don't take, once again, what most people don't take conscious of is what kind of reality they are creating with the words they speak, with the thoughts they have, with the
right,
actions they take.
yeah.
And that's the key of all kinds of magic. And Jeffrey, to objectively answer your first question, that's what conscious and magic is all about.
Definitely. And what is life like where you're at all the time? I'm trying to imagine it. You have a temple there. I mean, what can you tell us about life there? I mean, I know there's a lot, but I'm just trying to imagine it.
There's a lot of
You know?
life everywhere,
Yeah,
Jeffrey.
I know, right? I'm
Even
just
more you
saying, like,
over, Jeffrey.
I
Even
bet you have a bomb ass garden,
yeah,
right? Do you have a nice garden with all this herbs? A good garden?
Yeah, you know that actually I'm a Sagittarius, so I can't be. I never calm down, and I actually do a lot of things in my life, in my professional and practical life. So yes, I have the Orishas temple in Brazil. I live in the temple. So I have the Orishas temple and I have the Spirits temple. They are separate buildings in the same address. That's I guess that's the best way to say. So I run the Spirits temple. I run the Orishas temple. I run a publishing house that published my books and other authors' books in Brazil, talking about spirituality, talking about Orisha's magic, talking about Kimbanda, and we have now 40 to 45 books published in my company. And well, I have the Incensus brand that now get countrywide spread, and I have a shop running in São Paulo. And what else? So I do the publishing work, I do the writing work, I do the magical work, and the businessman work. So life is very good, but life is very rush. I live in a rush, and that's something that I'm trying to take conscious of. What kind of life am I building to myself? Because a few months ago, me and my husband we have a chit chat, and he says, Diego, did you realize that you were actually not living? You were creating a huge, successful company for MBS, for Mind, Body, and Soul books in Brazil. Okay, that's great. You are taking care of a lot of people in the spiritual temples you run. Okay, that's great. But what are you doing to yourself? How is you taking care of yourself? What kind of pleasure are you giving yourself? And this is something now trying to,
Mhm.
once I'm conscious about, I'm trying to get in balance. So the spiritual temples, for example, we are uh, how is the word? We are, I don't know the word in English. Sorry, but our schedule, our opening, our open to public schedule is shorter than it was, but we are trying to make some deeper experiences for those who come. So we
You're modifying your schedule.
yeah,
You're
exactly.
trying to condense your schedule a little bit.
Instead of doing a lot of smallest rituals all along the year.
You're trying to do fewer, more meaningful things.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly. This is something we are organizing for the beginning of 2023, for example. We are now in the middle of a huge renovation of the temple. We are building two new floors. We are creating a lot of buildings to receive people here so that Brazilians and foreigners can come to the temple and spend a whole week in a deeper experience with black magic tradition and with the herbal magic tradition that we perform here. So we are organizing some kind of in-person courses and workshops that people can come and get hands-on the magic instead of coming here once a week to a open session of simple cleansing open session, blah blah blah. We're dipping it down. And we're actually organizing things so that in the beginning of 23 we'll have two weeks, two dates for foreigners to come. So those who are keen about black magic tradition, about getting in contact with the black magic spirits, and maybe getting the first degree initiation, we are organizing this for February or March, that for a foreigners week in the temple, and the same thing for the herbal magic. We will have some 5 to 7 days workshop of going into the woods and harvesting the herbs and creating the bath, the fumigations, and everything like this. Because thank all the orishas and all the spirits, I used to live in a very urban environment until 10 years ago, and we moved to the middle of the woods. So now I have all the leaves we need. We are literally 1 block away from the forest. So we can go there. We can go to the waterfalls. We can go to the river and do all the enchantments we need to do there.
Does psychedelics ever come up with plants? Is that something that some do and some
Not in
don't?
our
Or
tradition. No, not in our tradition, because uh, either in the Orisha's traditions and in the spirits tradition, we face the possession and the embodiment experience. So when we're talking about Orishas, we're talking about forces of nature. We use the word possession. We are during a magic ritual, during a magic session for the Orishas, we are not ourselves. The Orishas possess us, and they are and it's them. They use my body to talk, to class, to do things like this. When we're talking about the spirits, we talk about spiritual embodiment. So the Orisha come inside out, and the spirit is a outside in process that embodies and speaks and eats and smoke and do all things like all things a living person would do during the session. But the whole point is either the orishas or the spirits, they take my my consciousness. They take my consciousness is the right word, isn't it?
yes,
Yeah.
Okay, so I shouldn't as the connection point that for the orishas or the spirits is my consciousness. I shouldn't use anything that how's the word, that blurs it. So psychedelics are actually not welcome.
Dilutes it. Yeah, I
Yeah,
understand.
yeah.
I understand. I've done psychedelics, and usually during it, I end up regretting it at some point. But what do you mean by three bodies? What are the three bodies?
Three bodies. Yeah, that's also one of the keys to to reach that balance we spoke about. Because in the book there is a whole chapter devoted to it. Here I guess we have a uh,
Yeah, it's
here our
three
temple,
bodies,
three
one life.
bodies, and our temple, our house, our temple. Because we when we're talking about energetical and spiritual balance, we must understand that this here, the flesh and bones, are only the physical body. And as your first question, oh, is there any herb I can take for blood pressure? The physical body must be treated by physical doctors. But we are not only flesh and blood. We have our mind, we have our thoughts, we have our psychological issues, we have all that is in the mental body, as I say in the book. So all that is thoughtful, all that is psychological, all that is emotional is basically defined as our mental body. But we are not only thoughts, we are not only flesh and blood. There is a divine particle inside of us. There is a divine and sacred context that puts this mental and physical body all together and create a purpose in life and create all things around us. And this is our spiritual body. So what I try to explain in the book is that we are three bodies in one, and each one of these three bodies cannot survive alone. So the body cannot survive without a mind. So an ill body cannot support a healthier mind to produce and to create everything that it's supposed to do. But a new mind cannot fulfill all the practical life uh, activities, even though the body is healthy. But there is no point of having a healthy body and a healthy mind if we don't have a sacred purpose to live. And that's the spiritual body that we must take care of. Finding this balance, looking for this balance, is to treat the physical body by eating healthy food, by going to the doctor and making regular checkups, and well, taking medicines and medical treatments that are prescribed to. But we also need to balance the mental body. We also need to balance our emotions. We also need to take care of our mental body with good thoughts, with going to the therapist, talking to a friend, allowing ourselves to feel and to share emotions, even though if even if they are bad emotions. We must feel angry, we must feel hate, we must experience these darkened emotions too, so that we can look at them, recognize them, and say, well, that's not what I want for myself. That's not the kind of emotion that I want to base my life on. So that's the mental body. But there is no point of having all these two bodies, all this. Uh, there is no point of having both of these bodies healthier if I don't have a sacred purpose. If I don't understand that, and I'm not talking about another God that is omniscient, omnipresent, and I don't know the word in English. Sorry, but I'm not talking. I'm actually saying no to the Christian God
Hmm.
because it's a distant and outer God. I'm talking about understanding that we have a divine particle inside of us. We are a divine particle. And this is what I mean about the spiritual body, taking care of our spirit, treating our spirit, worshiping ourselves as a particle of God. We, as I spoke before, when we're talking about Orishas, the initiation for the Orishas basically plant a sacred seed inside of us, and it's our responsibility to nurture this seed so it can flourish. And when it flourishes, we become gods and goddesses.
And I know you talked about the emotional body. That's something I've been dealing with lately a lot, having thoughts that I really just don't want to have, that don't seem like myself, and things like that, like some real, crappy stuff. So, I mean, what do you do to tend those? I try to do positive affirmations and things like that, which some of those get kind of cheesy, but I try to do it. It helps. And what are things that you do? Let's say you get an onslaught of some crappy thoughts. You just try to correct it and say something positive.
I believe things are not as simple as this because when we're talking about the mental body, I guess that the mental body is the one that mixes physical issues and spiritual issues in it. So, everybody have bad thoughts. First of all, we must understand how these bad thoughts are doing you harm, because we cannot deny that. How is the word? Uh, that depression is an illness. We cannot deny that the depression must be treated by doctors, by shrinks, and by medication. But, and that's a huge but, we must understand if this depression, for example, is biological originated, or is spiritually originated. And that's tricky. That's very tricky. So bad thoughts, bad feelings, anxiety, depression, anguish. Where is this coming from? If the root of this problem are spiritual, well, let's do some buri, which is the name of the ritual we do to our sacred head, and to just to balance all these energies. Let's do a spiritual cleansing first. Then let's balance your ori, your spiritual head, your spirit, the spiritual particle that exists inside of you, and most of the times is asleep. So we must awaken this spiritual particle inside of you. Let's understand how we can spiritually treat you so that the mental body and the physical body will balance itself. But we cannot deny science, and we cannot deny that sometimes physical issues are biological rooted, biological originated. So what do I do? I try positive affirmations. Yeah, I do positive affirmations. Many times I fake positive affirmations until I make it. I put out, even though I feel bad inside, I try to put out something good. I try to look for the good in the badness, but things are not that simple.
Well, and
Just
everybody's different
yeah,
too. Yeah.
just saying good words won't change your reality, but saying bad words will also won't fix what you're living. So taking conscious of what you are facing, what kind of energy are you putting out to the world, how can the spiritual entities, the gods and goddesses, all that is above us, how can they help me to be able to see the good and the bad? And of course, what magical rituals, what magical leaves, what magical roots, what magical seeds can I, what magical rituals can I perform to enhance this process of getting bad, sorry, getting better. That's a whole. It's very complex, actually.
And I came across something interesting about Ishu, the Divine Trickster, a book. And I was trying to find like stories about him or about
Uh,
folklore. But let me read this. It's it's small to read. It's hard. I got to squinch because it won't let you enlarge it. Ishu made his penis into a bridge. When those he called to walk on it reached the middle, his penis broke and all were drowned. Ishu was searching for his penis in the water. I'm trying to be respectful. The passengers are searching for their heads. The river issue carried them away. It's interesting because Coyote has a lot of weird stuff like that. When you read the native folklore about his penis and strange things like that. So it makes me just wonder if there's some kind of connection. They're both tricksters. So, but what do we know about some of the stories about him? I mean, folklore, like are they kind of like silly stories? Like coyotes are funny. Like there's weird, that make you laugh. I mean, what do you know about some of his stories?
the issue stories,
Yes.
actually, they're not funny at all. They are not funny at all. All the traditional stories that we have about Ishu and all other Orishas, they are most of them are scary because they try to humanize the gods and the African gods and goddesses, and this is tricky because when we humanize the sacred, we must understand that those gods and goddesses, they are not saints, they are not immaculate. So all Orishas felt love, felt anger, felt anguish, went to war, killed, but also saved, cured, healed. And when we humanize our gods, we understand that we must face our darkened side. So the traditional stories, almost all of them, tries to bring these life lessons in some harder way. So, for example, we have a traditional myth of Eshu that says that two best friends that used to work in harvesting in the farms. Uh, every day one of the rules of Shu is that when you woke up you must praise him, you must say good morning and thank him before going to work. So that were these two friends that every day fulfill this ritual and have a good harvesting, a wealthy harvesting. But there was a day that they wake up and they were in a rush because they wake up later and they didn't praise a shoe before going to work. And they went to the farms for harvesting, and a shoe went after them. So to ask for the praising that was missing. And when a shoe gets to the fields of the harvesting fields, he is wearing a hat just like this, that is half red and half black, and he puts himself in the exact middle line between the fields, between the fields where the friends were harvesting, in a way that one of the friends could only see the black side of the hat, and the other friend could only see the red side of the hat. And they start to fight and to argue. Oh, have you seen the black hat issue there? No, it wasn't black. I have seen the red hat issue there. No, it was black. It was hat, and they start uh, to discuss, to argue about which of them is right on this discussion, on this arguing. And the shoe is Latin, as the trickster, he is Latin. Oh, I am both things. I am the black hat and I am the red hat. And you are fighting for nonsense. You are fighting for being right in something that you are actually wrong because you forgot to worship me. You forgot to say thank for me before going to work. and the struggle gets so hard. One friend kills the original story. One friend kills another, and and they are all, and the one that killed the other is absorbed by a how is the word? He kills the friend, and there is a forgot the word. Sorry. Well, there is some natural phenomenon that Earth opens up and swallows the friend that killed the other, and both of them ends up dying.
Earthquake.
Earthquake, yeah, thank you. There is an earthquake that opens up the ground, and the friend that killed the other is swallowed by the earth, and the ship goes away laughing. Oh, that's the price you pay if you forgot to follow the God's rules. So these are very hard stories, but if you look deeper on it, they teach a lot of lessons. What's the point of fighting for who's right and who's wrong? What's the point of looking to life one side only? What's the importance of fulfilling the God's laws and the God's rituals so that we can have a long life and a happier life? If we don't do, it goes to find us, and in this harder story, one kills another and the earth kills the other. So no, they're not funny stories.
Definitely. And when it comes to prayers and blessings, let's say you do a prayer. Is there a certain way that you do the prayer? I'm sure it's a lot different than Christianity. What would be an example?
There are some traditional praise in Yoruba language that we used to do during the Orisha's rituals and the Orisha sessions. But one thing that is amazing, and I actually have a chapter dedicated to it in Sacred Leaves book, is that in Orisha's magic, everything that we say, everything that we sing, every word that is spoken is sacred. And as we humanize our gods, there is no, oh, now I'm going to take a moment to pray, this Christian praying moment. As we humanize our gods and we have they rooted inside of us, we we actually talk with them. The way we usually pray is by going to just like let me see if I can show it here. This
Okay.
thing here, this shells here, this is an Orisha. It's called Age Shalunga. Is the Orisha of financial wealth. So why is it here? It's not a scenario for the life today. It's actually in my working office. Where do I do my work? Where do I get my prosperity? Where do I look for and fight for my wealth? In my office. This is I'm actually in my working place. So the financial wealth, Orisha, the financial wealth goddess is placed here. And when I'm dealing with some clients, with some customers, when I'm writing a book, when I'm dealing with distributors, when I'm working, a lot of times I'm in the computer here, and I'm speaking with Ajay, and I'm asking her, bring me close that deal for me, help me closing that deal. I'm actually saying what I want, and this is the best way of praying for the Orishas. There is no praying moment because every word we speak can be transformed in a sacred word. But of course, there are uh, there are some traditional songs, traditional enchantments that when doing some traditional rituals, which it is exactly the point that I show in the book. You don't need to be initiated to use the Orisha's Herbal Witchcraft. You don't need to know Yoruba to create enchantments. You can create enchantments in your own language, but of course, there are a few that we practice in the religion. So, for example, when we're talking about herbs, every herb, every leaf has its own enchantment. It has its own African enchantment. So let me think of an example. I'm not good singing, but I'll give it a try here. If I want to enchant a cotton leaf, a cotton leaf, just let me remember the cotton sing. I'll try to sing this in Yoruba. Tani bobo chito bumu, oni bo misakweje. This is a Yoruba enchantment to awaken the leaf power. Just like, let me think of another one. Tani shonile tete komateu, tani shonile erankomarau. This is the singing enchantment that we sing when we are going to sacrifice a goat, for example. We must feed him with a sacred leaf. He eats this leaf, and then the act of the goat eating the leaf we offer to him, we believe it's the goat accepting to give his own life in sacrifice. So we must offer the leaf for the goat to eat, but we actually must sing this to say that this leaf is a sacred way of the meat to become not a how I don't know the differentiation in English.
Respectful.
Yeah, exactly. In Portuguese, we'll have the sacrifice word and the slaughter word. Maybe I guess that they are in Portuguese. They are very similar words, but they have this slight difference of context. When one of those are sacralized, and the other one is just a slaughtering, just as we have in the meat shop, something like this.
What would I do if I said something like a prayer to Ishu, like for vitality or to feel better? And then how would you repay that? You would do an offering, like maybe burn incense, or what would someone do that just don't know a lot about it, you know?
Actually, praying and making offerings, I understand they are very different things. Praying with, especially with the shoe, which is the, which creates that best friend relationship we spoke about earlier. The praying to a shoe is actually a chit chat, and I speak to my shoe every time of the day. But that's not an offering. That's not giving something. That's relating. That's strengthening the relationship, strengthening the bond between me, the believer, and the shoe, the believed. When we're talking about rituals, and then I understand that we have the gift, the gift cycle, give, receive, give it back. It all starts with, for example, oh, I want to do a health health ritual. I want to do a love ritual. The first thing I need to do is not the magical ritual itself. The first thing I need to do is an offering, is a gift. I don't know other word in English for it, but I must first praise the Orishas. I must first uh, gift the spirits without asking anything. Just like, oh, hi, I like you. Here's a gift for you. Just like we do to a friend, no strings attached. And by doing this first gift, we will perceive the blessing. We will perceive, we will feel better. We will see things changing, even though for a slight way. So we give the gift, we receive it back, and then we will thank the Eshu or the Orishas. Then we can do an offering, well, a bigger offering for thanking and asking. And then we'll be blessed. And then we do again an offering, and we create this repetition cycle. Did I answer your question?
Yes, you sure did. Thank you. And we got about 9 minutes. And I know you said it was cold there. I for some reason I just never pictured it getting cold there, which is foolish, I'm sure. But how cold is it there? How cold does it get, like temperature wise?
Now we are about 12, no, sorry, 18 Celsius degrees. It's not that cold actually, but at night, now it's 10:47 p.m. In 2 hours, it's going to be very cold, like 8 Celsius degrees. Especially where I live. I live in the middle of the woods, so I live in the shore of a river and in the middle of the woods. So I get all the humidity of this forest around me. It will surely get 5 or 8 Celsius degrees.
Does it ever snow there?
No, no, not where I live. We have a lot of places in Brazil that snow, but not nearby. And this is the contrasts that makes Brazil so interesting for living on, because in winter we have this hard cold of 5, 8 Celsius degrees, and in the summer we can face 42, 45 Celsius degrees. So it's very opposite in winter and summer here.
How much longer do you have of winter when summer come?
Spring will come September 22, so we still have almost 2 months ahead.
Gosh, it's summer here and I hate it.
I don't
Florida,
like summer. Yeah.
I don't either. Florida, ugh, seems worse like every year. But well, it's been great having you on. I've enjoyed it so much. What's your website again?
So people can find me in diegodeoxossi.com.br, DIEGODEOXOSSI.com.br, and all over the social networks and Instagram and Facebook and YouTube as Diego de Oxossi. There will be my face looking sideways there, so people can you can find me by my nose. Look,
Definitely, and I'll add you
and
too. Well, we appreciate it so much. It's been great, and definitely keep us in the loop when it comes to future endeavors, and we'll have you back.
yeah, we'll have some. Well, let me just show what is on stores now. We have traditional Brazilian Black Magic by Destiny Books by Inner Traditions, and the newest release, The Sacred Leaves by Llewellyn. We also have a newest book coming by in September called Afro Brazilian Numerology. It's talking about African numerology, how to find your guiding energy, and how the odus, the destiny energies rules our personality and everything like this. It's going to be published by Inner Traditions next September. You can find me there. And next March, we'll have the Orisha's card deck, the African Magic card deck by Rockpool. It's going to be released in March 23. So there are a lot of things coming for the English speaking public, the English speaking audience.
Cool. So you're gonna have like an oracle deck, kind of like a tarot kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Love those. Definitely. I'll have to. What's the publisher for that one?
Rockpool Publishing, Rockpool Australia,
Okay, cool.
but they distribute in the US too.
I'll have to keep checking that one out for sure. And we enjoy it so much. Thanks so much.
Thank you,
Thank you
Jeffrey,
very
for
much.
the invitation. Thank you, Wham, for the nice conversation, and it's an honor for me to be here with you guys. Thank you a lot.
Thank you. Have a good weekend, and thanks for coming on. And we'll stay in touch. Take
You
care.
too. Bye bye.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
All right, everybody. You're listening to United Public Radio 107.7 FM New Orleans. And we got about 4 minutes. So I was just going to read who's coming back on. Uh, we got Granddaughter Crow next week, and then Daniel Duke. Granddaughter Crow's native uh, American situations, and Daniel Duke is Secrets of the Wild West. Yippee ki yay!
Which, by the way, on on August 5th, when you have Kate Johnson on, or whatever her name is,
Yeah.
I'd like to sit in on that. I know her. I mean,
okay.
I know her personally.
Sure, we can do that. That's August 5th. I'll put you down too.
Yeah,
For that.
I mean, yeah, Jay down, but I'd like to sit in on that. So
Most definitely. I'll sit you down for it. I got you. I put a W on there too, and I'll send you the StreamYard link.
All right.
And her I know her book's Inner Traditions. I know the publisher at Inner Traditions asked me for her to be on Manzanita. The publisher sent me her book and asked. So, but let's see here. What We Do in the Shadows started back up. If you need a funny vampire show, that's funny. It's on Hulu, season 4. So I've been watching that. And I don't know. I think I always, what's that seasonal allergy stuff you get? Like a lot of people get it in the winter. I get it in the summer.
Oh, you mean the season
Allergy depression or something.
Yeah, seasonal affective disorder.
I feel like crap lately.
I get it in the summer too. I hate summer. I hate humidity.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the sun, so it's like, oh.
That makes 3 of us.
Too much.
I'm like, do you want us to live in here? I mean, you're leaving the heat lamp on a little too high for the lizards. If you were taking care of lizards, you wouldn't burn them that much. It's a little too much.
Humans are the cause of that, Jeffrey. You know
that. It's just, gosh, water us. Give us a breeze of air. It's just horrible.
It's those damn mammals.
Yeah.
Damn mammals. They don't want to be cold, so they want everything to be warm. So
and you got crazy Putin threatening to kill us all with a nuke at the same time. So it's crazy. Everything's crazy. I know people are still getting COVID.
Oh, I do too. I have 2 friends who just tested. In fact, I couldn't do my boxing this week because my boxing teacher, my trainer, tested positive, and he was like,
gosh, it's crazy.
He comes up from Manhattan. I mean, because he has family here and stuff, so he comes up from Manhattan, and he texted me and he said, I'm not coming up because I tested positive, and said I don't have any symptoms, but so yeah.
It's crazy. All right. Well, thanks so much, Diego. Thanks, Wham.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
And
Thank you, Wham.
have a good one. Thanks, everybody. Good night. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Good night.